Hello everyone, this is Lower. This track is Bubbles, and I'm about to do a little walkthrough of how I made it, how I put it together. It's off my debut album, Can You Hear Me? And yeah, should we get started? Let's go. Start with the drums maybe, since they're at the top. Right, kicks. Pretty standard kick and snare pattern, to be honest, so went for the old double kick at the beginning because there's a break that's in there later on. Here you go. So I was just following the pattern of the actual break. So the kick itself, there's a couple of little things going on there. There's a bit of shaper box, which if you don't know the plugin already, it's like an audio effects unit, so you can do time stretching, drive, noise, filter. This is like phasing and flanging, crush, which is bit crush, volume, pan and width, and a compressor. But the reason I love it so much and I use it on like so many things is because of the volume. So what you can actually do, you can treat it like a transient shaper. So you can have it, if I go from here, loop that. So you can have it trigger from the audio, and it's multi-band as well, so on this low portion here up to what about frequency 240 hertz, it's doing nothing because it's at full volume here. But on the tops I've had it so it's basically only coming up to about minus 6 dB and then going back down. I pretty much, oh, I'm on the filtered bit, whoops. There you go. So all I did was I was taking down some of the harsher top end of it to make it a bit softer. So without it, it sounds like this. So it's just, it softens it a little bit. It's such a useful plugin, honestly. You'll see it throughout this video a bit more. It's really good for the snares. After that, I put a clipper. So that's clipping the rest of it, just to give it a bit more volume for one, and a little bit of crunch, I believe, usually, depending on how much you push it. Not much on this channel, a little bit of a dip there. On the second kick channel, that would be just like the rolls and things with the filters, so like, oh. I kind of like to keep things a bit separate like that, so you don't have too many filters and like automation lines knocking around on the main kick. Because sometimes in Ableton, when you, let's say you delete something here, the automation line gets a bit messed up if you don't put the lock on. If you don't know, this little lock button here, this locks the automation, so you can move it. You can copy paste stuff without automation, but quite often forget to use it, to be honest. The snare group. So what have we got here? There's a bit more going on the snare. It's lots of layers, as they always are. Right. So we've got layer 1, which is from the Noisier pack. Just like a clap sound. And that is raw, there's nothing on that at all. Layer 2. It's a bit more of a transient heavy break sample, I think that was from. I've just done a bit of EQ on the top end, and again clipped it quite heavily. This one I believe is a transient, yeah, pretty much. That one, and that's got a little bit of EQ on it as well, just taking out the fundamental a little bit. This one, it's a noise layer from Bloom. I think this is actually from I Got Your Love. Stole it. And then we've got a synth playing just a bit of low end to add it in synthetically. So I've got some samples on the top ends, and synth on the low end. And this is basically just a knock. This is a effects sample, snare sample that I made. It's in a pack I released on Black Octopus. Sorry, coffee break. Yeah, so it just hits the low ends. There is, I believe, there you go. But so it says noise synth part. Oh, words this morning. The noise generator was off for this, but normally it's on, and that's what it sounds like. But I've turned it off for this. So altogether, that sounds like this. Not the nicest snare in the world, but I settled with it. With the break, it doesn't sound too bad. I've got a bit more of Shaper Box shaping that as well, so it's doing a bit more this time here. So if you see, we'll start with the top end. So basically I've taken off the transient of the top end, so it goes from 0 volume to 100% after however many milliseconds that is there, or that's a 30-second, so a 64th, and then 128th. So in 128th of a bar it goes from 0 to 100, so it just softens it basically. And then I've taken a tail off as well, so this will re-trigger every time the snare hits. And then on the mids I've also taken a very slight amount of the transient, peaked just before the top one comes up, if you can see that in the background, and then tails it off. This is everything under 2.8 hertz. After that, got a bit of compression and snare, wet and dry, clipping it quite substantially actually. And then I think we're running through some EQ, trying to take out some of the nasty frequencies, put a bit of tube on it. That's pretty much what I use Camel Crusher for, is just the tube, nothing else. More compression, and then after that is just a bit of dynamic EQ. So if I was to mute all that, I'd be interested to see what it sounds like. Yeah, you can basically just hear the mids. Yeah, I think if I did this again, I'd probably try and make it less noisy, but it's alright. You'll hear it in the mix, it's not too bad. So that's the kick and the snare. Doop doop doop. Then I've got like this group here, so all the shuffles and the breaks and things like that. So it starts off with I've forgotten this channel actually. Just a bit of Shaper Box again. So we've got, this is the opposite. So basically this is on the whole breaks and tops channel. So if there you go. So every time the snare hits, it's basically side chaining, but I use this because it's like a volume one. So it's very easy, and you can basically still use the multi-band portion of it. So it's just doing the everything above 343 hertz. Pretty useful. Bit of EQ. Yeah. Make it a bit wider on the top ends, compressing, and then more EQ. Just normal stereo EQ then. So yeah, more Shaper Boxes on every channel. So I'm just making this shorter by the looks of it. So if I take that off, yeah, I've got rid of that sort of crunchy noise and just made it more of a nice shaker. A bit more usable. This one here, just a random bit of random bit of percussion at the end of each 2 bars. It's just like a nice top layer there. Got a ghost. And then we get into the breaks, I think. So there's a bit of worm break there. I just stole the shuffles from that one. And we got a think break, hat or shaker or whatever you call it. And this is the main break here. Do the do. One of my favourite breaks, to be honest. I use it all the time. It's quite splashy, but I really like that. So all together, the drums, not many channels for drums to be honest, so it's good. Sound like this. quite rolling. There are some little breaks and little edits and things like this part here. I love doing that sort of thing. And then we've got some breaks for the fills. Stuff like that, loads of little edits and things. Oh, got some extra bits coming in here, like a bongo. I used to add bongos into like every single tune I did, and there was for a long time I hadn't done it for such a long time, so I think I'm going to bring that back. More bongos, that's what we need. More bongos in the world. Who doesn't love a bongo? Right, should we go to bass? Bass! So the bass isn't particularly complicated, because this is more of like a musical track, so I just wanted something to just give it some low end. So I basically did like a basic Reese in Serum. So here we go. So we've got a sub, direct out, which is a sine, and then two weird waves. One of them's wider, and then I've filtered it. Basically brought the drive up to give it some extra harmonics. This is one of my presets again from that sample pack, which I've tweaked. Just a go-to. Kept it down there. Put the drive up. Yeah, something simple. All you need is that bass really, and then I've done some accents on like each end of each section, like a little bass fill, which is like this. Another little preset I've made. Yep, and one thing I always do with like basses with tails is you don't want that overlap between each channel, because I separate them like this. Sometimes you get a bit of overlap here, like where the tail carries on over this bass, and you don't want that. It'll make it start sounding a bit weird and messy. So what I always do is I'll put a bit of volume automation on there afterwards, so when you reach the end of this it just drops to 0. That gives time for the tail to dissipate and make room for the other bass. On the bass bus or group, I've got again shaper box, but this time it's sidechaining against the kick. So it's really useful as well because you can see the actual waveform of the kick there. So you can, well, you should use your ears really over your eyes, but I think, if you've got the visualization like that, it's good to as a bit of reference. And with this, I've gone a little bit crazy. I think I'm just doing the mids, so I'm doing from 54 hertz to 161, which is where the peak of the kick is. So I'm not taking out too much of the sub, basically. I think that's why. Other than that, I've got a bit of a filter, so that'll be for the fills. This multi-band dynamics is a compressor, a multi-band compressor, but it's not doing anything. I think I used it, I put it on there just to check, just to see if I needed to compress the bass, but for whatever reason I decided not to. Then we've got some, this is dynamic EQ, but it's being affected by another one of the musical elements. On another channel. See that red there? That's the frequencies that are clashing from another channel. So you can set it as a sidechain input. So you can see it's coming from wob here, and then it will basically come up. If you click on sidechain there, it will come up, and then it will show you where the potential clashing frequencies will be, and then you can use dynamic EQ to reduce the volume of that frequency area when the other synth plays. It's quite good, but it's quite static. It's good for drums because obviously they don't change in pitch. And then after that I've just got a span. So that was just for me viewing the, the frequencies. Yeah, that is the bass, not too much. There's a different pattern here later on. Little B section, I suppose. Right, should we get onto the musical elements? So this is like the bulk of the track, everything in here. So nothing on the first channel, love that. This is that wob which I was sidechaining the bass with against this sound. So if you've heard the song, you've probably recognised this, probably one of the main elements. There's quite a lot of frequencies in this, it's quite full up, which is why I was sidechaining this against the bass, because I wanted this to have a lot of presence in the track still. Equally on the other end, it takes up a lot of room, so the vocal, which be over here somewhere, I took some of the frequencies out against this from the vocal to create more room. So there's a lot of, yeah, this is in Soothe as well, by the way. If you don't know what Soothe is, it's a really good, what's it called, like a frequency suppressor or something like that. Basically you can take out harsh frequencies with it. Also you can use it for sidechaining, which is amazing because it actually follows the pitch as well, which is the opposite of Fab Filter, because that's quite static, you can't change the pitch, just the volume it gets affected by, but this one actually follows the pitch as well, so it's really good for stuff like vocal sidechaining and melodic bits and bobs. Yeah, so that's that bit there. This is a pad, got a little pad here. It's not doing anything at the beginning, you can just about hear it. This one here, there you go. So if I unfreeze that, I think, yeah. So this is again from that sample pack I made. I actually used this particular preset in quite a few projects and then just tweak it a bit. It's called Lush. I just like it, it's nice, simple. Sometimes I'll put just a bunch of effects on there, specifically fragments, and then you can get it sounding pretty wacky. Oh, if my CPU CPU, maybe I won't do that then. Yeah. After that I've got a bit of just taking off the lows, didn't need it, and then there's a filter, nothing too crazy with that. Oh no, what have I done? There we go. We've got an ARP. Just backing up everything basically. Originally it went all over like the drop, but I ended up taking it out because it sounded a bit messy in the end, so just took it out. We've got here, we've got another ARP. This is like leading into the breakdown pretty much. There's another layer here, a bit darker. Oh, sorry, if you guys want to see this, let's have a little look inside Serum. This one's super wide. Oh my goodness, what was I thinking? Sorry about my CPU. There we go. So that's what that's doing. I'm gonna have to refreeze that there. So yeah, that's the layer 2 for that. I don't think there's particularly interesting stuff going on here. Just some filtering, got shaper box. Oh, he's doing some panning. So this is the pan module, left and right, top and bottom, and I've just got it going up and down basically, just on the mids to give it some width. some interest. We've just got some EQ and tape, which I love. It's, yep. You can treat it like a tape emulator, and you can also do things like wear, which will change the pitch. You can hear it like warble up and down. It's quite good. That's just a layer, and then we got this, which is the delay from that, I think. Yeah. Nice little fade out into the breakdown there. Okay, and we got another little ARP thing here, which is just like some sort of twinkly bits. What is going on with this? Something's gone weird with that. It didn't sound like that before. Let me just recreate that. Pitch hack. So what it should sound like should be plus 12. What's that? 33, 17, 33. There we go. Something like that. Where it's a little bit like twinkly. Gives you all those weird little like pitchy things on the top end. I've no idea how it works, but it sounds amazing. Especially if you then delay it or reverb it even more afterwards. Loads of little cool twinkly sounds. There we go. And then we've got a track with nothing on it. Interesting. What is this? Okay. I see. That's why I probably muted that then. That's funny. Right, so this is the intro now. And this is like a guitar loop. I think it was like a stack, and it had like some vocals and things, so I chopped it up a little bit to create this little guitar repetitive loop. And then I added a little vocal in there. There you go. On the downbeat. Yeah, I wanted like that kind of repetitiveness, just to build up until the drop. What have I got here? Just some stabs, just to emphasise it. On those two tracks, by the way, it's just a bit of EQ and filtering, so nothing crazy. This is actually the old vocal that I had. I'll play that. Not sure why there's 3 tracks of it, but hey.
Keep your speakers on, this low-key is on. Keep your speakers on.
So I put a little bit of EQ, and I've got a little alter boy on there, just reducing the formant by 3. So that's what it sounds like normally. I love formant shifting, it's so cool. You can get some really weird sounds with it. Kind of cool, isn't it? Yeah, if you haven't got this plugin, I would recommend it. You can get some really cool effects with it. Especially if you put it on like sounds like basses and then distort them again, or like mids even. You can get some really weird distortion sounds. It takes a lot of tweaking though, but you can do it. And then on here, I've got a little effects stack. So one side this is the dry side here, I believe. Yeah.
Keep your speakers on.
Where I've just got basically some EQ. And then on the effects side, it's like the completely wet side, basically. So I've got fragments and soothe. Doing some mad stuff. The reason it sounds really phasey is because I've got soothe on there. And what soothe is doing is it's basically using the other side to sidechain the effects side. So I'm sidechaining the fully wet effects audio against the vocal itself, the dry vocal. So you can have the effects quite loud, but then still have the clarity of the voice.
Keep your speakers on, this low-key song.
This is why Soothe is amazing. It's not cheap though. I wish it was cheaper, but hey, it is good. So yeah, unfortunately I never used that because basically I got quite lucky actually, because there was a track released, I forget who it was, but they used that exact vocal sample, and luckily I hadn't handed this tune in fully yet, so I was like, oh crap, we need to change that quickly. And then got Anna Bayo to record a vocal for it. We'll get to that later, but yeah, it's kind of lucky we heard it when we did. Turn those off. So let's carry on. What we got here? Just some little random fill sounds and the background sounds. Some delays, which you can hear there. Another one here as well. And then this used to be through the whole track, I think, yeah, pretty much, but I deleted it from the intro, or muted it. So all this is a choir sound, which I've got some clicks in still. Shame on me. So I've just got took the low end out, I've got a filter there, and then this is Soothe, and it's sidechaining from the lead vocal. Obviously that, yeah, when the lead's playing I didn't want that coming through too much, I just wanted it compressed, but I didn't want to change the volume of the actual the actual sound, so that's where sidechain comes in. And then we got the vocal, so if I'll show it to you on its own first. So what is this? That's actually me. Okay. Right. So this is the main vocal.
Drift on, float on, highway with me, highway with me. Drift on, float on, highway with me.
And then it's highway with me again. I was quite lucky with Anna. She sent this back to me quite quickly. All I said to her was like, here's the track and I want the theme to be bubble related. And she came back with this, so drift on, float on, high away with me. I thought that kind of fits quite nicely. So all I've got on here, got some isotope nectar, this is like how I usually process my vocals. I would have gone through before this and tuned them a little bit. Usually she doesn't need too much tuning, which is good, but like just as a general vocal thing, I'll tune the vocal then I'll run it through this. So it's just a tiny bit of EQ, got quite a lot of compression going on there, like -9, which is crazy, but you can get away with a lot of compression on vocals. Sometimes I'll do like maybe a little bit more further down the chain. You can get away with it a couple of times. There's a de-esser as well, doing some work. And then we've got a bit of EQ, giving it a bit of presence. And then we've got clearly I thought that the word drift needs a bit more 386 hertz. Funny, innit? And then after that, I've got some tube, bit of tubey. Give it a little bit of crunch, some more harmonics. And then I put it through 26% of a chorus. Give it a bit of width, I suppose. This channel here is just a delay. Ooh. And I've actually I've rendered it out already, but sounds like I've used Little Altar Boy, and I've just taken the formant down. It's gone up a bit there, see? Into the drop. Boop. There you go. Later on down the line, I've got a few more little just snippets of the vocal, basically. And then some more whispers in the break down here. Really in the background, but hidden. So with everything else, the vocal sounds like this. There you go. Also, I've just noticed I didn't actually render that out. All of the effects for this part here is happening here. So just taking out some lows, and then this Little Altar Boy. You see it working there, the formant. Then it's, I think, yeah, because sometimes Little Altar Boy adds a bit of weird, like, phasing and also some lows sometimes, so I've taken that out again. Then I've got it running through an effects chain, so I've got a dry version there, but it does have an echo on it which comes in at some point. Yeah, over here, second drop. And the fragments, I think I'm doing something similar to before. So fragments on one side, so that's fully wet. I've got it side chain to the other vocal. So here, probably this last little bit more EQ, quite heavily. And then an echo, so this is going a bit mad, this one. So it's basically just adding like a layer in the back. You should hear it change. There we go. So yeah, if you look at these volumes here, you can see how they get, this one gets higher. So that's turning up the volume of all the effects, and I'm turning down like the lead as it comes to the drop here. There you go. Cool. I thought I deleted that, but that's good. Delete that. Or mute that. Right, and then that leaves us with effects, I believe. So just a ton of bubble sounds probably. Right, start from the top. So we got one of those. Just raw, nothing there. I should probably have taken the low end off that. Oh no. And I believe this is a pitched down version of that. Quite often I'll do that. So rather than duplicating it, I'll just pitch it down a bit or add a different one in altogether. This one is someone breathing. This one here is something I've created in Serum, just a little riser. And this. Some bubbles. The first of the many bubbles. Then with this one. Something. Nondescript. Then we got bubbles galore, I think. Some little pops and clicks and... What's this one here? Yep. This is water, I believe. Just like a layer of water in the background. Some really chorused out. I bet I've not sure how I did this, but I think I probably recorded like the musical elements and then put that effects on it. Sounds a bit time stretched as well. Yep. Some more layers here. Oh, that's on the left. And I've got a right layer there. Kind of subtle. I like adding that sort of thing in because you don't really hear it, but it does add a little bit of like something. So this is all together. So with the musical stuff. There we go. And that is pretty much the entire track. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't heard it already, go listen to the album. Love you guys. Enjoy. Just a side note, maybe the album hasn't come out yet. Dun dun dun. Bye.